Hello, hi everyone.
Hi guys.
Welcome to Blonde Vibrations. You're tuning in with Lydia May today.
Hi.
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for coming.
Of course, thank you for asking me.
We feel like you're giving Hannah Montana a little bit.
Oh
with the
my
best of both
gosh.
worlds.
Trying from a lecture all the way
What
here.
lecture was it?
It was my political theory lecture.
Wow, entirely different.
Yeah, it's completely different. I go from like Aristotle to the studio, but it's good.
Very Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I love that.
Like we can pretend we know how to ball, that's fine.
How are you finding balancing it all?
Oh my
like the
God.
journey and everything. You know, it's uni, part-time job,
Yeah.
and also this like.
Honestly, I'm feeling it this week a lot. So I dropped out of uni actually in December because music uni just wasn't for me, and I came back here, and really up until August, I was trying to find just my vibe, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my career and get my health back a little bit. And then now uni started and music's kicked into gear, and I'm so happy, but I'm exhausted.
It sounds it.
Yeah.
Congrats on like taking the steps though, like being like, I need to drop out and just like figure things out. I feel like that's really important, and it's absolutely off topic, but it's something we talk about a lot on the Champagne Whispers side of the podcast, is that kind of, it's so normal to feel like you need to do the academic route and you need to do step by step and you need to push yourself to the limits. But I do feel like taking that step to kind of say, this isn't for me, and I need to have a summer where I'm just figuring things out, especially when you're balancing
Oh my gosh,
so
of
many
course.
things like you are.
And I didn't take a gap year, so I went straight into it from the Brit school, and I was like, God, I did it for about a year, and just, it wasn't for me, and that's fine. But-
For this is my elephant in the room, is I dropped out of my masters, so I understand. I'll say it's my truth, guys. Like, I'm not a master's student, but even like on a smaller level, just like so much to take in at once. Sometimes you have to just step back and be like, whoa, what am I doing? What direction is my life going
You're a
in?
human being before like a student or anything.
It doesn't have to be like the linear steps of like, did my course here, now my masters, and then this and that.
Yeah.
like,
Bundle it all
say
in.
you're atting me.
And it's okay if you do
It's
do
PhD.
that.
But yeah, I feel like we probably should preface this by saying we have in fact met before socially. So I feel like if you're sitting here and you're like, this is wild chemistry. Yes, but we have met before. And we were saying that when we were planning these questions, we were like reminiscing on meeting you for the first time. And granted, it was a busy bar, but we were like, we cannot place her accent.
Oh.
And we were like, what? Like, we were, because it was a loud bar, it was crowded.
It
And we were
was.
like, there's something there, and it's not the same as us, like, she's not from
No.
Leicester. Like, but could you tell us a bit about kind of how physically moving around and like how you mentally build your like artistic profile, and how your experiences materialise into your sound? Like, do you think moving and being in London influences that?
Totally.
Sorry, diving straight in.
No, do. Totally. I've never really thought about it like that because I feel so connected to the music I make. And I think now with dropping out and taking a year for myself, I really found through my artistic project my creative outlet. And it's, I think I see my persona as a bit of a character when I don't feel confident or I don't feel sexy, I don't feel cool. But moving from quite a small bubble in Melbourne to London, it was crazy. I was 14. I think I just had to jump on that plane, and thank God my family was there. And I'd always been writing music and writing songs, but I had such a dreadful time. It's such a sporty culture in Australia, and I just was the theatre kid, so I just didn't find my feet. And then coming over here, I really just tapped into it. I think the best piece of advice was be a sponge and absorb as much as you could. And I think going to the Brit school, I stepped off the plane and 2 weeks later I was in a classroom.
Oh my god.
No time to adjust.
Wait, what age was that?
14.
Oh my god.
And then 2 years later it's like COVID and everything's going on.
Yeah.
So as much as things have changed, I think music has always been a continuous part. I think just coming over to such a vibrant city, and it's so hard to live here, I'm not taking that away, but it's so full of life and passionate people that I'm just so grateful for it. And yeah, I think it's definitely helped me grow as a person and as an artist.
How are you finding the weather though?
I'm not having a good time.
Like right on the, like what, the clocks go back this weekend?
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Sorry.
So sorry to tell you this live on air.
Can we take a cut? No.
We're all in this together,
Yeah.
don't worry. It will be summer soon.
We've got Jasmine's nice sunset, so it's fine.
Summer all around for us.
Yeah.
So, you are also fresh off your first ever tour. Congratulations, by the way.
So
much.
excited.
That's insane. And on this tour, you had themes. So, Glasgow, Stargirl, Birmingham was Sweetest Cherries, London was Heart's Desire. How does curating themed outfits impact your confidence going into the live shows?
Oh my goodness, so much so. I feel like I was on a shoot yesterday and I get so nervous before I do anything. But when I've got my gorgeous stylist, shout out to Elliot. Once I'm stepping into the costume, I just feel so in it. And it feels like a performance. I go back to my theatre roots. I'm like, well, show must go on. It's so much fun. And also, it was such a big thing. I feel like costumes and little symbols and things like that, it's such an easy way for everyone to feel included. Like, obviously I go a bit crazy with the costumes and I wouldn't expect anyone to show up wearing what I do, but I feel like if there's easy little things people can wear and join in with, that's so important to me.
Yeah, it's so nice when everyone can get involved because then
Yeah.
it makes, when you step out on stage, it's like, oh, we're all just here
Yeah.
together.
My people.
Yeah.
It's so funny, like every time you say something, it lines up with the next thing. 'Cause the next thing we were going to say is about kind of the whole, it's very topical at the moment with musicians to kind of guard their personal life and their public life. You know, you've seen Chapel a lot recently saying, you know, like Chapel is a persona, that's not me, that's a version that you see on the stage. And what we were kind of going to ask is that, do these kind of mini projects and themes and your stylistic choices on stage, is that kind of your version of doing that? Like, do you see you kind of do because you just said it, but your on stage persona is something different from yourself?
Yeah, I totally, it's such an interesting thing for me to think about because how I feel on stage is how I wish I always felt off stage. Yeah. So I think this character that I've created and just the freedom and courage that I just allow myself to have on stage is almost like what I hope I can channel when I'm not. So as much as I think it is a big caricature, I still think it's just a version of me that I'm still trying to find and looking for. And the more I do, the closer I get to being one with her, which is really nice.
And I love that idea of kind of not necessarily it being as clean cut as the A and B.
Yeah.
You know, that obviously does work for some people and it does work for Chapel, but I think it is nice that kind of what you just said there about it being part of you still and there being elements of you in your character and elements of your character in you and having that kind of mix. And something we think about a lot is the idea of faking it till you make it. And, you know, even when we did our first interviews, even that, it was kind of a persona where you sat down and you're just kind of pretending like you know what you're doing.
I still
Until
feel it
you
a little
do.
bit.
I feel that every day. I'll be
Yeah.
just walking about. I'm like, oh God, it's so difficult as well. Like networking sometimes. Obviously not everyone's as lovely as you all the time. But yeah, a lot of the time I really struggle to think if I'm being myself in a social situation or if I'm just feeling comfortable, and the relationship with my self-confidence is so up and down. So having this thing that I can become is so nice, and people respond to her. It's like I'm that little theatre kid who didn't have any friends, who's now got such lovely people supporting her and like finding their own friends through it.
And people wanting to join in
Yeah.
with what you're doing as well. You know, you set the theme and then they want to do it as well.
Yeah.
And it is that, at its core, people taking part in the character and the whole world surrounding that.
Yeah, like I even saw, I couldn't go to your shows, but I saw when you posted the themes and I was like, yeah.
Thanks.
I always, we love themes, we love like Halloween
theme.
parties, everything that we can just dress towards, we will.
Our housemate said to us the other day we were going to Pale Waves concert and
love.
she said to us, she was like, I don't know how you guys dress up for the theme every single time even though there's not a theme. And we were like, nah.
There's always a
just
theme.
We're setting our own theme for like New Year's. We're just going out, it's just us and a friend and we're like, so the themes, we're going to
As you should.
It's even worse because we're going to Manchester. I don't even think she knows this yet. But so the theme is glitz and glammy up in Manny.
Yeah! That's great. That's so good.
Like, we are not hosting, but we have set this theme.
No, you're hosting the vibes.
Exactly. So, also, over the past few months, it's been clear to see how connected you are with your listeners. So, on tour, they did the fan project, which we saw.
Stop it!
It could make me cry when we saw them. We were like, that's
so
insane.
sweet,
yeah.
And you hosted the Maybelles meetup.
We did.
Whilst you're still a newer artist, you're curating a dedicated community from the offset. How do you feel about the fan projects that happened and the meetups you host, and how does this build such a strong sense of community?
Gosh, I'm so shocked every time anyone even interacts with me online. And those picnics, especially the London one, was the first time that I'd ever met any of these gorgeous people. Like, I've been making music for a while, but I didn't start shouting about it online and finding people until like last November. So it's not even been a year. And
Wow.
it was crazy. And it builds such a community, but also it's so nice to learn from people because they're so amazing at sharing their love and kindness and caring about me and each other. I've learned so much from them. And I think no matter how small you are, everyone's always looking for love. It sounds so cliche, but that's also what I do through my music. And I think I'm just so lucky that I've been able to find them and find so many of them so early on. I just can't wait to see where it goes.
Love that.
We even had this one time someone who like listened to the show come up to us, and we were like, you know who we are?
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's like, what do you mean?
Like, that's crazy that there's just people out there that even if you've not connected before, like at some point there's a chance that you can connect in the future.
And they just want to support. Like, I just think that's amazing, especially in an industry that doesn't always feel like that.
Yeah.
I really do believe that the people supporting the creatives and making the wheels go around.
Yeah, and that was something we were talking about before we started filming, was this idea of kind of connections within the industry and how you can kind of shape these to support artists like women who are otherwise often kind of pushed away from the industry. And something that we wanted to hear from you, from your perspective, is about like how you've got positive relationships with other female artists in addition to your fans, that kind of then expands this community even further. And as you said, kind of having the wheels start moving on this kind of movement to make the music industry more inclusive.
That was like a huge truck that we're like pushing manually.
Yeah.
Being so honest, I've had really positive and really negative interactions with female artists and other female creatives, and majority have been positive, especially recently. Working with predominantly female teams has been so nice. Yeah. Everyone gets everything done on time. It's crazy. But I've made some really best friends the past year. Mira Taylor and Olivia, Alex Blythe, Chloe Charlotte. Like, I feel so supported by women who've experienced the same things, and it's so hard. And I think, music aside, women aren't always encouraged to be friends and support each other. It can be very competitive, and sometimes there have been times where I feel like I've just not been on the same wavelength as another artist, and that's okay. But that is such a backbone to me believing in myself and having the confidence then to be any type of leader for my listeners and community, and knowing that if I have a question, I will be on call to Mira Taylor at 1 a.m. being like, girl, what's going on? Like, how do you feel? And yeah, that's what that's it.
Female friendships, I feel, are so important to your kind of your own attitude towards yourself. Like, I think the moment that I started having really genuine female friendships was when I started kind of being kinder to myself, because I could see myself being kinder to them. And then I was like, if I can treat Eliz with that, I can treat myself with that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it is kind of, I can imagine that's really rewarding to then have them female friends within the same industry.
It's so lovely.
Yeah. And the other thing, again, you're hitting every single buzzword, is that it feels like in the charts and social media trends at the moment, they're being dominated by strong female musicians, which obviously we all love to see. However, another trend that we've been seeing is the onstage persona and this blend between the performing arts and theatre kids being accepted into the pop music culture. For example, you obviously have Renee Rapp, Sabrina Carpenter, Ariana Grande, and the new hype around Wicked. The question was, do you identify with the theatre kid title? But I think it goes...
We all
Yeah, oh my god, I basically grew up on Glee when I was... No.
Thank you so much for mentioning Glee.
Like, Stanley just said, we were on the shoot, he was like, do you remember when you told me I needed to watch Glee for brand research? I was like, no.
So vital.
Yeah, I think I didn't get on with school and I moved around so much, and it was just those theatre classes where you can put on a new character and you can just have fun, and that's where I just felt the most myself and happy. And now interlinking it with what I'm doing now, it feels cool and fun, which is so great.
It brings about like a level of confidence as well to do that. Like I didn't have the talent for the theatre kids, but I had like kind of the audacity. In my heart, I was like watching Grease and Hairspray and stuff, and I was like, maybe I'll be in that.
It's me, I'm Sandy.
You were like a theatre kid rising.
Yeah.
Like,
but I just didn't have, I was too shy because I really wanted to audition for Bugsy Malone in year 5.
Yeah.
Bugsy Malone is such a core part of your
It's so
life.
important.
And I walked in there, I had the script that you had to sing, and I was like, why am I here? What am I doing here? I just walked right back out again. But I'm so glad you mentioned Glee, because that's some of our first memories of becoming friends. Is like,
I was probably watching it a bit too young though. I was thinking about this. I think I started watching it when I was like 8. And now I've rewatched it recently and I'm like, thank God I didn't pick up on half the references.
So I watched it for the first time in our second year of being friends, and we would just sit on the sofa and just watch it back to back.
Yeah.
And it was just, I think sometimes I was sat there and I was like, I can't believe you grew up on this. Like, this is wild. Like, was it Creature of the Night?
Oh my God.
Like, oh my God, that haunts me as like an adult.
Terrifying. If you can remove him, the Will Schuster of it all, if you can remove that, then it really, not quite something.
Sue Sylvester though now, I just love that.
Icon.
Icon.
I don't really know how to segue from Sue Sylvester
back into the performance.
I was going to say, do you think there's strength in having like the performance arts based background to performing, or do you feel like it's a sign of the music industry becoming quite saturated, that artists are trying to take a new approach to just stand out?
I think there's two different, well, you've got writing music and then you've got performing music, and not every artist enjoys both. I think for me, I started with performing and then I found a real solitude and confidence out of songwriting and being able to marry them up on stage, especially recently. There was years where I was like, nobody in this room knows or wants to know who I am. So now the fact that any of my lyrics and me performing live can connect with somebody else, I don't really care what's going on with everybody else. I mean, it's so great. And I love that there's more of a push for live, because COVID was so hard. And a lot of people, weren't able to perform or weren't able to perform in the capacity they wanted to. Yeah. So I say oversaturate it. I think you'll find your people. At least for me, performing is such a core part of my project though.
And it's really clear that it is so special to you as well. Like, even watching from afar, you can see how that is part of your music, and that it shows that is kind of, you're right, there's like performing musicians and there's kind of recording musicians, and I think they're both valid.
Totally.
And they both can exist for different purposes.
Yeah, and people go like in and out of times as well. I think sustainability and just keeping a same person. I don't know, maybe I'll go through a period where I just want to perform and I'm not really writing, or I just want to write. I don't know, we'll see.
It's kind of like the beauty of you being in control of what you're doing is you have the freedom to then do that when you want, or stop and have a break, or do it all at once.
Not right now though, I'm in it now.
It's quite a niche experience to be an independent up-and-coming artist. I mean, we can't even necessarily relate, but even listening to other people's music can sometimes be a guiding light and to help you navigate through the music industry world. So whose storytelling inspires you?
Oh my goodness. I'm so inspired by Rachel Chinnery at the moment. That girl is so amazing at being herself. Alessi Rose, she's just got this infectious feeling about her, and she's so good at sharing when she's excited or feeling good about herself. It's so lovely. Who's a really good storyteller? God, I'm listening to so many different people at the moment. Oh my God, Doechii. Amazing. And who else? I also go back to my classics so much, like Joni Mitchell and Carole King and like Blondie on that side of things. I grew up so much with like early Katy Perry and early Taylor Swift, so there was a lot of storytelling weaved up in that. Grace Vanderwaal's new single is amazing. I'm so inspired by that big arena sound. I love music that sounds like a feeling that you don't have to say yourself, you can just sit with it. Yeah.
Amazing. Are there any songs, not necessarily by those inspirations, but also there might be, that you're like, I wish I wrote that. Like, I wish I could just see that on my Spotify profile.
I was thinking about this so much. Constant Craving, Peggy Tonsor. I was like, oh my God, listening back to it, something deep in me is like, oh.
Maybe you wrote it in another life.
Maybe I did.
That's
maybe
why.
Yeah. And Chasing Pavements by Adele.
That's such a good one.
No, thanks.
I might have to steal that. I'm going to steal that. I'm just going to tell people that.
She's just fab. The fact that like Hometown Glory was written when she was 16 as well. Oh my God. Yeah. And Thinking of You, Katy Perry. It was like 2011, 2012. And I didn't find it until like 2 years ago. It's on repeat.
I always do that. Find a song that's like a decade old and then be like, it's new to me.
Yeah!
So bearing all of this in mind, we've asked this question before on the show, but we need your answer. Is who would be in your dream girl group? So think Spice Girls, Little Mix, but you can pull any woman from anywhere to make your super group.
Doesn't have to be a musician.
Oh, I'd love it if you chose not a musician.
Yeah.
That is why.
Okay,
it
Who
was
do you
musicians,
think can,
but
like, sing who isn't singing?
My dream girl group. Okay. Meryl Streep.
Oh.
Chapel Roan. She'd be there. I feel like Sabrina Carpenter, like level out the height a little bit. And
I love that that's the only reason.
oh no, she's also amazing. I love you, Sabrina
But you need to
Carpenter.
think about the visuals of the girl group.
Exactly.
Yeah. And while we're talking, I feel like it's so obvious while you speak about how passionate you are about other female artists, and whether that's, you know, your friends or someone who you grew up with, it's so clear that this is something that's so close to your heart. And we kind of wanted to talk about your support slots on the tour, because this is obviously a very big part of your planning process. Could you tell us about kind of the choice in having this all-female lineup, and, you know, do you find that you just gravitate towards artists and this is how you want to present them and you want to share them? Like, how did that come about for you?
I think I felt so out of the other amazing artists who are just a few steps ahead of me and have a bit more of a team and a bit more support, and I'm just not there yet. And that's fine.
Yeah.
But for me, I remember that hunger of just wishing there was something that I could do, and someone would just be like, yeah, come do this, come join the group. And creating that spider work of musicians and other creatives who just haven't gotten that chance yet was so important to me. Also, those two girls especially, I all knew about them. They've all done such a good job of creating their own communities, and I was so in awe of that and talking to them online. I remember messaging Chloe Charlotte like the second day she got on TikTok, being like, hey girl, if you need anything, you just let me know. And then I was like, oh my God, she's amazing, and I want to share all of this energy that I'm so lucky to have with her. And they were just they were supports down to the core of like the meaning of the word. They would be there before I arrived. They would just constantly be checking in with me, dancing in the crowd during my set. It was so so nice to see, and they just made me feel great, and we're all friends, and I just believe in them so much. So I'm so grateful they said yes.
You seem like the best person to be like
Yeah.
the support slot of, because you seem supportive back. It's like reciprocated.
Yeah.
So it feels like the moment we've all been waiting for. We're going to do some agony aunt style questions. We do it on Champagne Whispers part of the show already, but these are actually from your listeners. So we have a couple.
Okay.
The first one is, how would you deal with a friend who leaves me undelivered for weeks at a time?
Oh no.
And only now only wants to hang out with my ex-best friend who has spread rumours about me.
Oh, baby girl. Oh, no. Okay, so I think there's two halves to it. I sometimes can be the friend who can't respond to messages
Same.
for weeks, and it's so hard, but I do it to everybody. So maybe if that's how she is, or they are, I don't know, maybe if that's how they are, maybe that's okay. I think a big part of friendships for me is if someone's done something that's really hurt you, your friend should be able to understand that and back you up. And that doesn't mean cut other people out of their lives, depending on the situation. But that doesn't sound like they've got your best interest at heart. So maybe you leave her on delivered for a few weeks and see what happens next.
And you might find each other at another time where there's a better chance to respond to the messages.
Yeah.
I will say the rumours thing though, that's where I'm like,
It's like, girl.
if someone that I was close with was actually spreading rumours about you, like I would have to like set them
I think
straight.
friend
like,
is maybe in question at that point. Yeah.
Okay, and then the second one is, I have suspicions that both of my exes are getting together. One of them has just said that she likes me, but I'm getting mixed signals, and now she hasn't spoken to me much since.
Oh, that's such an awkward one.
Guys, you would all write great songs about these things, by the way. Like, I'm so sorry.
You're going to start using them as case studies.
And I'm like, oh. Wait, so what's the question?
What do they do?
What do they do?
Yeah. What now? Help.
Oh no, help. God. I think it's time to go meet some new people. Pick up a hobby. There's so many people that you're just waiting to meet. And if they want to do their thing, well, you'll probably come up in conversation, and any publicity is good publicity, you know what I mean? No, but I think But I think it's really difficult when people are starting new things without you, and especially in a situation like that, God, every feeling you have is so valid. But go do something for you. Go meet some new people. Go date someone else and have a third ex. Maybe they'll all get together. I hope not, but you'll be fine. Just focus on yourself and go find something new that you love. Yeah.
I feel like because they're both exes right now, as time goes on, at some point they'll both just be strangers, and then you can remove yourself.
And you can almost laugh at the craziness of that. That is such a weird coincidence that will be really funny one day when it's not so close to your heart.
Yeah, it's not funny yet, but
not funny yet, but don't worry about it.
So, looking forward to the future now. You have some upcoming support slots, Gia Lily and Lexi Carroll. And you have teased unreleased music to be played at these shows. We have heard it. You heard that? I think
I heard that somewhere.
What can you tell us about upcoming projects and performances? Can we get any exclusives, sneak peeks?
Well, there's 2 songs coming out before the end of the year.
Okay.
One just before Gia and just before Lexi. So
we're gonna get on the walls. We're gonna make a timeline and be like, when is she going to be releasing this? I need to hear it.
And then some music videos, and obviously there'll be listening parties and meetups for that because I miss my bitches. And then there is one very exciting thing happening at the end of the year, but I can't say anything because it's not big.
Oh my god.
Have to stay mysterious.
I have to say, God, it's so tough. I can't keep a single secret. I'm just constantly, I pull up what's going on Twitter, and I'm like, do I just share everything?
Do you know how hard this series is to keep a secret?
Sure.
We have been planning it for 2 months, and we're not even telling our friends, and it got to a point where I just had to put on my story, I was like, just know that I have a secret right now and I'm not telling you guys, but I'm having to put this because I have to say something.
I responded to her story threatening I was like, if you spill, it's over.
Yeah.
We're
That
done.
must be so hard, yeah.
I would be the worst musician. Like, I cannot keep a secret.
It's dreadful
ever.
because there's also the
Yeah.
anticipation of like, is this gonna go well? Like, do
Yeah.
people want to know about this? But you can't focus on that. I'm just so excited that I get the opportunity to do this and have fun.
Yeah.
But these next two singles, for me, even if I'm working on individual songs, I still see them wrapped up in albums. Even my recent two singles, like last year, still feel slightly connected with what I'm doing now. So, I don't know. We'll just see whatever that means.
We'll be eagerly waiting with our timeline that we have curated to figure out the exact date that it will be coming out. And we also like ending our sessions with artists with, a positive tone, not that this wasn't already so positive, but setting intentions for what's to come. And some have actually successfully manifested things in this way. Like, not to say that we've got magic happening here, but
can say
things
it.
have happened. Jasmine might have put some spell on this background. So what do you envision for the future of Lydia May?
I just want to meet more of you, and I just want to get in bigger rooms and make more friends doing this. I just have so much that I want to share, and I'm now getting to the point where I'm realizing like how I want to share it. So this, I feel like I haven't even gotten started, and there is so much to come. So much to come. I want to do more tours, and I want to collaborate with other artists. I think at the very end of it, I see using music as a way to be on other different creative projects. I'm just so here for the creative industry.
It's a really exciting time, I think, to be following you. Like, it feels like there's so much to be working with as a fan anyway, but I feel like the possibilities are just endless going forward.
feel it.
It's going to be really
There's a little
exciting.
buzz.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just getting started.
Yeah.
So, who would you nominate the Blonde Vibrations listeners to tune in to next? Who's up and coming that you really think they're going to be in here, the studio? They're coming next.
I think Leonie Briney.
Okay.
She's just been announced opening for Miss Rachel Itinerary on tour, and I can feel it. There's something so special and gorgeous about what she's doing, and I just can't wait to see more.
Yeah, and we'll see what we can do.
I was just going to say those exact words. Like, we'll see.
Like taking notes. Amazing. Well, thank you so
Thank
much
you
for coming
so
and chatting
much.
with us.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.